Hello and welcome to the Tales from Horizon podcast. I am your world forger, Neil, and it is my great honour to transport you to the world of Horizon with today's story. The Tower of Solitude. In the Underdark, the endless, lightless place where mushrooms grew to unsettling sizes, and everything was damp in ways that defied logic, Picada Salvation walked with the kind of confidence that only came from a life spent in places where something was always trying to kill you. His skin was the deep violet black of a midnight sky. His silver hair cascaded like moonlight caught in a strong breeze, and his eyes, dark as the spaces between stars, carried the particular look of a man who had been through too much and was thoroughly unimpressed by it. Picada was a necromancer. Not the loud, showy kind who raised armies of the dead and made dramatic speeches about destiny. No, he was the other kind. The sort who appreciated silence, preferred his skeletons well behaved, and generally liked his undead minions to clean up after themselves. He had once been in the ploy of people who thought commanding the dead was terribly useful for things like conquering kingdoms or getting out of paying taxes. Picada had freed himself of such obligations, mostly by ensuring his former employers became much more personally acquainted with the concept of undeath. Now he sought only one thing: peace. And so when he found the rift, a shimmering tear in the fabric of reality, the magical equivalent of an unlocked door with a helpful "Do not enter" sign, he did what any sensible necromancer would do. He stepped through. The first thing Picada noticed was that the air was fresh. This was so shocking that he spent the first 10 minutes just breathing, which was a new and slightly unsettling experience. The second thing he noticed was the view. The island was vast and wild, the kind of place that had never heard of things like property tax or neighbour disputes. Towering cliffs overlooked an ocean that stretched to forever, waves crashing against jagged rocks like they were trying to make a point. Jungle stretched in every direction, thick with the sort of greenery that looked suspiciously alive in ways it shouldn't be. Picada exhaled. Yes, this would do nicely. With the patience of a man who had spent far too long in the company of idiots, he made his way inland, noting the strange energy humming through the ground beneath his feet. The place was old, in the way that only things which predated history could be. Magic coiled through the roots and stones, whispering like an old scholar muttering to himself in a library. And best of all, there was absolutely no one here. Necromancers, despite popular belief, are quite good at architecture. It comes with the territory. If you're going to spend years holed up studying the mysteries of life and death, you want to make sure the ceiling isn't going to collapse on you halfway through. Picada picked a high hill in the center of the island and got to work. It took years, but time was something he had in abundance. The tower that rose from the hill was unlike the sharp, spindly things wizards seemed to favor. Instead, it curved in flowing spirals, shaped by magic rather than chisels, its dark stone veined with silver that caught the light of the island's twin moons. Inside, he built everything he would need. A library, naturally. Bookshelves lined with tomes that whispered when no one was listening. A laboratory, because if you're going to spend your time unraveling the mysteries of existence, you might as well have a dedicated workspace. And of course a summoning chamber, for those times when you absolutely must have a conversation with somebody who has been inconveniently dead for the last 1,000 years. The island accepted his presence with a quiet sort of patience, the way old places do when they realize someone has arrived who knows how to listen. Picada found himself studying not just the dead, but the living things around him. The plants, the creatures, the spirits that moved through the trees like mist. It was peaceful, mostly. Years passed in comfortable solitude. Picada had everything he needed: quiet, knowledge, and an undead housekeeper named Gregor, who had once been a rather unfortunate pirate and now spent his days making very passable tea. Then one evening, as the twin moons rose over the sea, Picada stood on the balcony of his tower and frowned. Something was off. The world beyond the island pulsed with a kind of insistence, as though it was clearing its throat and waiting for him to notice. Perhaps there was more to learn beyond these shores. Perhaps he wasn't quite done with the world yet. Perhaps, he sighed, he liked it here. It was peaceful, quiet. He had everything he wanted. And yet, the tower stood behind him, solid and unyielding, the culmination of his life's work. But out there, beyond the cliffs, beyond the jungle, beyond the horizon, there were mysteries still unsolved, voices still waiting to be heard. Picada Salvation took one last look at the ocean, shook his head and went inside. For now, he had tea to finish. But tomorrow? Tomorrow he might just have to see what all the fuss was about.